Welcome to Deep Thought, the false online persona. Now, you know what? I did something where I talked about, many people creating a virtual self on my Sunday morning simulcast. I wanted to get more into it because a lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people talking about it. Using my Sunday morning simulcast get a fair amount of people, but this one got a little bit more run on it than I usually do. Right? Because I don't usually say anything controversial, but I think people can live with this. Understand it. The false online persona. Now, I've talked about counterfeit personas before. Now, those are the personas that we have just going through life, and those usually come about unconsciously anyway. If you usually they start developing in childhood. Our reaction we develop a certain defense against a certain trauma. And, that defense becomes our personality, but it's a false one. It's not our true one. All right. In fact, to heal people of the counterfeit persona, they have to really deal with the trauma that caused it to begin with. Right. And that can be another podcast. Right. Very important thing. But what's happened now in the age of social media, that many people have created a false online persona. For example, there's a well-known troll who she hits up all the black men's channels on here. I'm surprised she hasn't hit this channel. I'm really surprised. It might be too deep for it here. You know what? This is one of the few times she'll hit my other channel. She has never said anything on this one. I don't even know if she pays attention. Even she knows about it. Right? I'm almost disappointed. I haven't had to block her on this one, but this person gives this persona like, oh, she's in a happy marriage and all of that, but she always uses pictures of models and everything. And I'm thinking, if you got this much time to write this much and bother this many people, you can't be doing much in the real world. But that's the nature of the online persona. Like a person who, a man who's not he's not good with the ladies, all of a sudden becomes a womanizer. A guy who is broke and unimportant all of a sudden becomes a CEO of his multi-million-dollar company, right? And a lot of people get into it, A lot of people get into it. Even if they show their pictures and stuff, all of a sudden they become like this great thing, but it's false. It's like, and the bad part is it's a conscious thing. You ain't living in some rich place. The women or men or whatever you're looking for is giving you hell. You barely working, but you can get on here. You can be whatever you want, even create something. And in fact, sometimes you get some people that say, I seen this online persona in real life, this person in real life, and think, oh, wow, they ain't who they say they are. Right? But it is crazy because sometimes, well, it was a story I told a while ago, right? And I first heard this story from one of my college professors. He told the story and then dismissed us early. It was deep. And it is one of those things that stick with me probably through several lifetimes. It was so deep. But he talked about this man who got burned in a fire. His face got burned, so a guy made a mask for him. And because of the mask, this dude was able to he was able to get fame, money, women, whatever. But then it started bringing him some problems. So what happened, he went back to the mask maker and said, look, you got to take this mask off. So the guy took off the mask and stood back. The man's face had become the mask, right? The problem is with the online persona, sometimes people might get into it. They might start losing their perspective. They might actually think they this popular person just because they got a bunch of followers. And that's something too, because you get some YouTubers and they're like, yeah, I got all these followers and stuff. And that is until YouTube comes through and starts getting rid of all the bots and stuff that's following you. And some people paying for those followers. Right? But they get so caught up into it. And for example, I don't get caught up into it because I know for a fact there's people who sub me who probably watch one video and won't watch another one. Because there's people I've subbed. I'm just being real with you. There's some people I've subbed and I've never watched a video of theirs. There might be somebody who said, hey, sub me or whatever. I'll say, oh yeah, they're pretty cool. Boom. And then I'll never watch another video. right? It is what it is. And like if people do it to me, I don't have a problem with that. So, but it's a false thing. They base the issue here is really they base their self-esteem. They like, oh, I got all these followers, all these people like me. Oh, no, they don't. It's easy to click follow. How many of these people see me? I count whoever spends money with me because they got to consciously do it. It's easy to click follow. You know, if I'm on Instagram, I see a nice booty, I click follow. It's like I might not agree with anything they say or talk about, and I'm like, what does that mean? That don't mean the person like you. That don't mean you popular. They might have just liked something you said. And they say, hey, I want to see what else they saying. All right, but they get caught up into that because one thing, even with you following, typically somebody gonna follow because you got something interesting about you, at least your online persona. So people get caught up into that. Oh, this must be, but your whole thing's based on a lie. And it fosters lies. Especially when you get some people, they follow somebody online and then it's like they, develop a crush on them or something. Like a lot of guys get caught up. Like, some of these women, they get on here. Like the women will get on here and they'll take poses in certain ways to make their bodies look a certain way. Right? Like if they don't have a booty, they make sure they take the pictures from up so all you see is the big breasts, right? Or if all they got is a booty, they pose in such a way that kind of hides the stomach or something, right? And guys too. Let's be real. You get some guys, they should go to a car lot or something, go somewhere, maybe get a car on a test drive or something and pose in front of it. Right? Make sure you don't see the license plate or anything, right? You don't think anything of it. They say, oh, they just hiding their license plate. It's like, no, they on a test drive with their car. They ain't their car. Or guys trying to act like they balling out of control or something, like they got all this money. Oh, something big, like on Instagram, you get people who buy clothes, right? You get people who buy clothes just to pose them, then they taking them back the next day. I actually read an article about that. That's actually become like a major thing. They return them right away and stuff, right? But that's a false thing. That's not how you living. But see, it becomes a problem when you think that is how you living. And then somebody get interested and then they find out the truth and it's like, boom, right? That's why I can't get with people who, they take it seriously. Like you got so many guys, they trying to figure, well, what can I text this girl online? What can I say in her DM to get her interested? I was like, first of all, you don't know that's her. You don't know anything about her. In fact, you get some people, they might even hit you with some deep stuff, but that's not how they feel in real life. But they know if they do this or say this or pose this way, they'll get a lot of followers. And you get a lot of people, they allow that to be their self-esteem. But it's false. You can't build something based on a lie, right? You can't do that. And there's a lot of people lying out there. But philosophically, you got to think. It's not even so much they lying. That's bad enough. But they believe their own lies. All of a sudden, they think they own something. But then, I'm going to tell you what. During Mercury in retrograde, Facebook and IG went down. That must have been interesting for some people. You got some people who just live on those things, right? That's their business and everything. All right, and you feel bad for the people in business, but what for the people who got that false online persona and all of a sudden they can't show it? They back to being that ordinary person like couch surfing or, not getting any attention in the real world. So it's some deep stuff. One thing I'll say with myself personally, anything I do online or say online is just an extension of me because my thing is always being about authentic. So if you see me wearing a certain thing, I can go right to my closet and show you where it is, right? Or I say something, it's the same thing I would say publicly, right, in front of a group of people. Whatever way I'm seen on here, I actually hold back online, to be honest, because, people get squeamish and stuff. I can be raw sometimes. So anyway, something to think about. There's always something to think about. Maybe that'd be my new catchphrase, something to think about. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.